Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Excited to be here.
Today we're tackling a motivational podcast episode about success.
Oh, yeah, this one.
It might sound like the usual self-help stuff at first glance,
Yeah.
but I gotta say there are some really interesting points buried in there.
I agree.
Like, it goes beyond just work your butt off kind of advice.
Right, like that's not the whole picture.
Exactly. We're gonna look at why that become successful overnight idea is kind of BS.
Yeah.
And how discipline is key when motivation just fades out.
Absolutely.
And even some time management tips that could really change how you work.
Totally. I think what really grabbed me right away was how it debunks that whole overnight success myth.
Yeah, it kind of jumps right into that, huh?
Yeah. You know, the idea that people just suddenly make it without all the years of work.
Right. All the setbacks and all the hustle it actually takes.
So easy to forget that part, right?
Totally. We see like the successful business person or the best-selling author.
Or like that athlete who's killing it.
Right. And we forget about all the hard work they put in behind the scenes.
Totally. And the problem is it makes us expect things to happen way too fast.
Right. Like if we think success should be instant.
We get bummed when we don't see results super quickly from our own work.
I've definitely been there.
This episode really makes you think differently about that, though.
How so?
It pushes you to see that real success is built over time.
Not like some magic trick.
Exactly. It's about consistently doing the work.
And speaking of doing the work, the source is all about hard work as the foundation.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's more nuanced than just like working till you drop, right?
Oh, for sure. There's got to be a difference between working hard and working smart.
Right. It reminds us that just putting in tons of hours isn't enough.
It's about being smart about what you're doing and how you're doing it.
I like that.
Like imagine an athlete training for a marathon.
Okay.
They don't just run around randomly, right?
No.
They follow a plan, focus on specific areas they need to get better at, and constantly adjust their training as they go.
That makes sense.
That's like deliberate practice, and it can totally change the game for any skill.
So it's not just clocking in the hours, but using those hours well.
You got it.
But we both know, even with the best plans, it's tough to stay motivated all the time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's where discipline steps in.
This episode really nails how important it is to build discipline as your driving force.
It's almost like motivation's flashy friend.
Huh. Yeah, but discipline is the one who's always there for you.
Right. Discipline sometimes gets a bad rep, like it's all rigid and stuff.
Definitely.
But this episode shows it in a way more positive light.
I think so, too.
It's about taking charge of what you do, building those good habits.
And shaping your future, you know?
It's that quiet but like rock solid thing pushing you forward.
Even when you don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah. They had that analogy of an athlete training even in bad weather.
Oh, yeah, I liked that.
Because that's what discipline is like.
Unwavering no matter what's going on.
And we can all get better at it with the right mindset and strategies.
Like building a muscle, the more you work it, the stronger it gets.
That's a good way to think about it.
And something that's really cool is understanding how discipline works in our minds.
Look at the psychology of it.
Yeah, it's not about forcing yourself to do stuff you hate.
Right.
It's about making it easier to stick to your goals.
So you actually want to do it.
Exactly. Like if you feel overwhelmed by a huge task.
Ugh. Yeah, I know the feeling.
Break it down into smaller, manageable chunks.
That always helps.
And don't underestimate how important your environment is.
Oh, yeah.
Surround yourself with people who support your goals.
That's a good point.
And don't forget to reward yourself for making progress.
Take a little celebration.
Okay, so we have hard work as our base and discipline keeping us going.
Right, like the engine.
But there's another piece to this puzzle.
And that's where smart work comes into play.
Yes. Smart work is about getting the absolute most out of your efforts and your time.
It's about working smarter, not just harder.
Exactly. And that involves some key strategies.
Like what?
Prioritizing tasks effectively, for one.
Makes sense.
Understanding your strengths and weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
And making sure you're using your time and resources the best way possible.
Now hold on to that thought.
Okay.
Because I think that's the perfect lead into our next part,
Sounds good.
where we'll break down those time management techniques and see how smart work takes our hard work and discipline to a whole new level.
Looking forward to it. You were about to tell me more about those time management techniques.
Oh, right. Well, the episode mentioned this thing called the Eisenhower Matrix.
Okay.
It's a really good way to figure out what you should be focusing on.
I see.
Basically, it helps you sort your tasks by how urgent and how important they are.
Oh, interesting. So you can tell what needs to be done, like, right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what can wait or even what you could ask someone else to do.
That's super helpful when you have a ton of things on your plate.
Totally. It's all about being strategic with what you prioritize.
It can help you stop feeling so overwhelmed.
And if you like those kind of productivity tips,
Oh yeah, I'm always up for those.
the episode also talked about the Pomodoro technique.
I've heard of that one.
It's pretty popular, and for good reason.
What is it exactly?
It's all about breaking your work into chunks, like 25 minutes each,
Okay.
with short breaks in between.
Sounds simple enough.
It is, but it really helps you stay focused and not get burnt out.
I can see how that would be useful.
These techniques really show what smart work is all about.
Right, it's not just about reacting to everything that comes up.
It's about being intentional with your time and energy.
And that brings us to another big point this episode makes.
What's that?
It's about dealing with setbacks.
Oh, man. That's something I used to struggle with so much.
Really?
Yeah, I'd get so discouraged by any setbacks I had.
I get it.
Like it meant I wasn't good enough or something.
I've definitely felt that way too.
But this episode had a totally different take on it that really clicked for me.
What was it?
It's not about avoiding setbacks altogether, because let's face it, that's impossible.
True.
It's about how we see them and how we react to them,
That's an interesting perspective.
because they're going to happen no matter what.
What was so cool was how the episode turns setbacks into learning opportunities.
Yeah.
It encourages us to have a growth mindset where challenges are just chances to learn.
So instead of getting knocked down by setbacks,
You use them to figure out how to be even better.
I like that.
So instead of beating yourself up over mistakes,
Which I've definitely done a lot.
ask yourself, okay, what can I learn from this?
That's a much better approach.
It's about being curious and wanting to always improve.
And resilience is a big part of that, right?
Absolutely. Resilience isn't something you're just born with or without.
It's something you can build up over time.
Exactly, by practicing and choosing how you respond to challenges.
And you know what helps with building resilience?
With that,
Discipline. It's not just about pushing through and it's easy.
it's about having that mental toughness to get back up when you fall.
The episode had a great line about that.
What was it?
Something like, discipline isn't just about doing the work, it's about getting back up when you get knocked down.
Wow, that's powerful.
It reminds us that success isn't always a straight line.
There are going to be ups and downs.
And it's that commitment and that disciplined approach that'll get us to where we want to be.
And speaking of the journey, that leads us to the last big idea from this episode.
What's that?
It's about embracing the long game of success,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
especially in a world that's all about instant gratification and quick results.
It's hard to remember that real success takes time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget to enjoy the process.
Definitely, this episode really makes you appreciate the whole journey
Reminds you that success is often the result of years of hard work and learning.
and all the adjustments you make along the way.
It's about believing in the process, even when you don't see results right away.
Since you love history, you might like this analogy.
Let's hear it.
Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is anything truly worthwhile.
That's a classic for a reason.
It's about setting those big goals, breaking them down into smaller steps,
Okay.
and consistently working towards them even when the finish line seems far away.
That makes sense, but how do we actually do that?
Do what?
Stay patient and have that long-term vision.
Oh, right. With all the messages about getting results fast, it's a real challenge.
It is.
This episode has some good advice on that, though.
I'm all ears.
First, you gotta set clear, meaningful goals that match your values and what you want in life.
Like having a North Star to guide you.
Exactly. That can help you stay focused and motivated when things get tough.
Makes sense.
And, something as simple as celebrating small wins can make a big difference.
I like that.
It helps you keep going and reminds you that you are making progress.
Even when it's not super obvious.
Exactly.
I think it's even bigger than that.
How so?
It's about changing how we think about setbacks.
In a good way.
Instead of seeing them as failures, we can see them as feedback,
Oh, I see.
as chances to grow and learn,
It's about embracing the whole journey with all its ups and downs.
and trusting that if we're consistent and disciplined and working smart.
We'll get to where we want to be.
Man, we covered a lot today, huh?
We really did, from that whole myth of overnight success.
To all that stuff about hard work and discipline and working smart,
It's all connected,
it is what ties it all together for you.
I think it's that message of we have the power to do this.
Oh yeah, like it's not out of reach.
Exactly. This episode makes you realize success isn't just for some lucky group.
It's not like a secret club or something.
Right. It's a process anyone can follow
If they're willing to put in the work and face those challenges.
and commit to the long game.
That's such a good point. It's so easy to compare yourself to others.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And feel like you're not doing enough or you'll never get there.
This episode flips that whole script, though.
How so?
It tells you can create your own success.
You're not just stuck waiting around for it.
Right. You achieve your goals by working at it consistently and making smart choices.
And having that resilient mindset.
And it's not just about reaching the finish line either.
It's about the journey too, right?
Exactly. It's about taking on those challenges and celebrating the wins.
And always learning and growing.
There's this great line from the episode that sums it up.
Oh, what is it?
Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
I like that one. It really shows how much consistency matters.
It's not about those big flashy moments.
It's about showing up and doing the work every single day.
Even when it's tough, even when you're not feeling it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay, what is it?
Knowing that success is built one step at a time. What's one small disciplined action you can take today to move closer to your goals?
Maybe it's spending 30 minutes working on that project you've been putting off.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or figuring out one task you can delegate to free up some mental space.
Or even just starting a healthy habit to give you more energy.
Remember, there's no magic formula for success.
Everyone's path is different.
It's about figuring out what works for you and sticking with it.
And never giving up on those goals.
Keep exploring, keep learning, keep working at it.
Your success story is out there waiting for you.
On that note, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into success.
We'll catch you next time.